Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Dzaky Naufal from 11 Science 4. My attendance list number 9, and now I would like to explain you about novel coronavirus, or now we can call it COVID-19. In December 2019, the Chinese authorities announced to the world that there was a virus that spread to their communities. The following month, the virus spread to other countries with increasing cases many times a day. This virus is SARS-CoV-2, or Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome related coronavirus 2, which causes the disease COVID-19, and people call it coronavirus. And now I will explain you more about the coronavirus.
Viruses are just a capsule that surrounds the genetic material, and some are proteins and arguably not a living creature. The virus can only multiply by entering a living cell. Coronavirus may spread through the surface, but it is not yet known how long the virus can survive there. The main way the spread is estimated through droplets when someone coughs or when you touch someone who is sick, then touch the face, for example, rubbing the nose or eyes. The virus starts the journey here and seeks a right to move deep into the body. The goal is in the direction of digestion, lymph, or lungs, which can cause a dramatic effect. Although little coronavirus can cause a serious situation. The lungs, surrounded by billions of epithelial cells, are the outer cells of your body lining your organs and mucosa waiting to be infected. Corona is connected to specific receptors on the victim's membrane to carefully practice its genetic material. The cell was unconscious of what happened, running a very simple new command: just copy and reassemble. This cell will be full of copies of other viruses until it reaches a critical point and accepts orders to explode. The cell was crushed, spreading the new coronavirus, preparing to attack more cells. The number of infected cells rises sharply. After 10 days, of millions of infected body cells and billions of viruses have flooded the lungs. The virus has not yet resulted in excess, but Corona soon launch a real attack on you that is your immunity. The immune system that protects your body can actually harm you and needs strict regulation. And since the immune cell moves toward the lungs to attack the virus, Corona also infects some of the immune cells and causes confusion. Cells have no ears or eyes, so they communicate with a chemical signal called cytokine. Almost every important immune reaction is controlled by it. Corona makes infected cells to react excessively, and essentially this causes the chaos of the immune system, sending more immune cells than need, wasting resources and causing damage. This can be very bad. That can cause permanent damage that can lead to long-term defect. Generally, the immune system is slowly returning to normal, killing infected cells and preventing viruses that will infect. The majority of people infected with corona to critical. In severe cases, millions of epithelial cells have died, and without the protective veil of the lungs disappear. That means that the alveoli air sac where breathing occurs can be infected by bacteria that are usually not a big problem. Patients affected by pneumonia become severe breathing or even fail, and patients need a ventilator to survive. The immune system has worked hard for a week and made antiviral weapons, and thousands of rapidly spreading bacteria make the immune system overwhelmed. The bacteria enter the blood and infect the body. When this happens, then that will be a possibility. There are two estimates for a pandemic like corona: fast or slow. We will watch it depend on how we deal with it at the beginning of outbreak. A fast pandemic is going to multiply and swallow a lot of mental casualties. A slow pandemic will not be remembered by the history book. A bad scenario for a fast pandemic starts with a fast transmission rate, and is very dangerous, because in a fast pandemic will be many people who are sick in the same time. If the excess amount of the health facilities will be overwhelmed to overcome it, the resource will not be enough, like health staff or equipment like a ventilator left to help everyone. With this, the amount of death will increase significantly.
To avoid this, the world must all be able to turn this pandemic into a slow. The pandemic is slowed down with the right response primarily in the early phase. So everything that is sick will get treatment, and there is no precarious point with the house of state being overwhelmed. Since we don't have a vaccine for corona, we must engineer our social attitude to become a social vaccine by not being infected and not infecting the others. The first thing we can be done to, it sounds so trivial, is to wash your hand with soap. The next thing is create a social distancing to others, which is not a nice experience but a good thing to do. This means no hugging, no handshake, and if you can stay at home, just stay at home. It can to protect anyone outside who need to drive a social function, like a doctor, a cashier, and police officer, because you depend on them. They also depend on you to not get sick. On the highest level, there are quarantines, which can mean different from travel restrictions or real orders to stay at home. Quarantines are not great to experience, but they are mainly research working on medication and vaccination and in important time. So if you are quarantined, you must understand and respect it. This was no fun, but looking at this big picture, it's a small price paid. And today, and this time, there really is in our hands, literally and figuratively. Thank you. That's all for me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.